Do you want to find out why Will Smith went from this to this from the perspective of Chinese medicine? Keep watching to find out more. Hello and welcome to the show that discusses stress-related health topics through the lens of Chinese medicine and personal development. I'm Liam, and today I will be your guide as we discover why I believe Will Smith lost his temper at the Oscars, a pattern in Chinese medicine that we call Liver Qi Stagnation. Let's get into it, shall we? So let's have a quick talk about what exactly is Liver Qi Stagnation. In Chinese medicine, the body is made up of different systems. The liver is responsible for the smooth flow of things around the body, and this includes your emotions. When the liver is drained of its essential energies through poor diet, excessive lifestyle choices, overconsumption and stress, it stops it performing optimally. And what that can mean is that things get clogged up. A good analogy to use is that of the drain in the shower. When the drain is working properly, the used water is allowed to go through the drainage system and out into the sewage system and away. When the drain gets clogged up by all the hair and soap residue that accumulates over time, the water isn't allowed to pass through the drain properly. And as that is allowed to clog up further, eventually the water hasn't got anywhere to go, and it can only start to rise upwards. Once this happens, you're going to have a problem with overflow because that water's got to go somewhere, right? And this is what I think you saw at the Oscars. Other signs and symptoms of the liver qi stagnation pattern include a bitter taste in the mouth. You might have a lump in your throat that you just can't seem to clear. You can also have problems with your digestion, and constipation is often a problem as well.
How many times do y'all poop in the course of a day? I can go 3 days without.
You have to poop daily.
You might want to take a look at that.
So let's look at the evidence that we've managed to gather about why I think this is what happened to Will. The angry outburst is simply the tip of the iceberg. Underneath are layers and layers of stress that have built up over time. In 2019, he got his first colonoscopy and they found a precancerous polyp in his colon. Obviously had this removed and there were no issues with the cancer getting any worse, but it would have been a big shock to the system. In 2020, after filming the movie that he recently won the Oscar for, King Richard, he had put on a lot of weight. The older you get, the harder it is to make these lifestyle changes and get back to a level of health that you can be happy with. More stress was added when the Smith family were under the spotlight because of Jada's entanglement. His son Jaden then was hospitalized later the same year.
Had the other time in Australia to where I was in so much pain in my stomach in the emergency room.
In 2021, Will started the year by setting himself some pretty steep goals for someone of his age. He decided he wanted to shift the extra weight that he was carrying from King Richard and the pandemic by setting himself a very hefty goal of losing 20 pounds in 20 weeks. At the same time, he wanted to complete the memoir that he'd been working on at approximately 20 chapters.
The emotional exhaustion of mining those, sometimes traumatic experiences from my childhood and from my life in general.
This all leads up to this year's awards circuit, where Will was the hot tip for winning his first Oscar. The stress and anticipation of going to a ceremony where you're the hot favourite and not knowing whether you're actually going to win or not would also have added another layer of stress on top of everything else. It's also been said that Will has a work hard and play hard kind of attitude, and in my professional opinion, this is a sure way to have periods of burnout. As his therapist, Dr. Rumani, said, no matter how funny you are, no matter how strong you are, eventually the pressure becomes too much. My question for today is, what are your thoughts on Will's situation? Have you experienced burnout before? Can you empathise with his situation even if you don't condone the use of violence? Leave a comment in the description below with your answers. I'd be really interested to find out what you think. Now, even though it's a little blurry, you can see that his tongue is actually slightly swollen because it's coming out to the edges of the lips. Around the edge of the tongue, there is some scalloping, which indicates tooth marks. And also the tongue body is quite pale. Both of these factors are showing me as a practitioner that there is not enough energy in the body to hold the tongue muscle in place in the tooth line. That's why the marks are there. Also, the tongue color relates to not enough vital substances circulating in the body, and therefore the blood is not in the tongue, giving it the nice pink color that it normally should have. We get the general idea that Will tends to be a bit of a workaholic. He takes things to excess more often than not, and there is a tendency to over-consuming food and stimulants.
I think because I drink so much coffee, I get dehydrated.
Well, acupuncture is amazing at settling the emotions. It is able to create the flow in the body that allows the liver to do its job properly and therefore settle all the emotions within the system. I thoroughly recommend to anyone that is experiencing these levels of burnout and stress that you find a practitioner that is local to you. If you go into the description below, you can find some of the main acupuncture associations from around the world. Click on their link, they will have a place on their website which will help you find a practitioner local to you. So what can he do now? After the most recent outburst, I would say the best thing to do is to avoid any stimulants, any alcohol, and any chili or hot food. The reason for this is that we want the liver to take back control of the anger and create that lovely smooth flow through the system again. Getting better sleep is the #1 way of regenerating your body's vital substances. So if you're someone that has problems with sleep disturbance or insomnia, check out this video for more information. As far as dietary changes go, I would suggest eating root vegetables that have been cooked long and slow in the form of soups or stews or casserole. The root vegetables, once they've broken down in that style of cooking, are super easy to digest, but will give you all the nutrients and energy that your body needs to function. The less work other systems have to do, the more energy goes to the liver's healing. With that food, you can also add small amounts of garlic, turmeric, oregano, and basil, as these herbs have a warming and moving quality to them that will help create that flow again. Even though this has been a very public outburst, I'm sure that a lot of people can relate to the fact that this is more than likely stress related than a detriment to Will Smith's character. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.